Go ahead and start the webinar here. All right. Cayman, I'm going to unmute you. Why do you think I have this up?
Probably because we're going to be doing something in Scratch about it. But also probably because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween! Absolutely. So actually, it's not for Scratch. I wanted to point out that if you all are carving pumpkins this year, and you wanted to make your own stencils, like this is a pumpkin stencil, it'd be really easy for you to do that in Inkscape.
Or 3D print it.
Or 3D print it, absolutely. So I wanted to show you.
3D print it with like sharpened points, so you could take like a file and sharpen them, and then you just press onto the pumpkin.
Okay, that's such a cool idea. I really like that a lot. I am going to shoot that idea to Mr. Dubik. I think he would really like that. That would be a really cool concept. Hey, Max. I'm going to go ahead and meet you, Cademan. So what Cademan's idea there was if you were able to take this and put it into Tinkercad with some spikes on the end, you could get something like this, decorated. There's like plastic eye kits that that you stick on the pumpkins. I don't know if it's going to show me anywhere here. Here, let's see. Oh, of course it's going to be Christmas. Okay. Let's see this tree. Yeah, like this. And these little pieces stick into the tree. Well, you could really easily do that with a 3D printer. The other piece, though, is that you could just take any image. Let's take a. Well, I want to show you here with the stencils. We'll look at this again in a second. But let's say you want. Gosh, that gnome. Takes all kinds. Let's think. Let's say I wanted to carve my dog's face onto or my koala, because I already have the koala made. Let's say I wanted to take this koala. Let me go ahead and open this in Inkscape. Oh, I think I opened the wrong thing. Oops. Huh. Oops. Pause that for a second. All right, we're going with picture of my dog because she's right here. Then what I could do, oops, we're just going to do a quick example here. We're not going to spend too long on this, but I thought, you know what, with Halloween, it'd be a cool thing to look at. And you guys know how to do this at this point. Path, you can go ahead and trace this path, right? We're in Inkscape, trace bitmap. And this is where, you know, we're going to try to find a good in-between. Hey, Logan. We're just taking a look at a possible Halloween project. All right, and so now, you know, then you could spend more time on this or trace it the way we did with the koala or something like that, but you could see how you could kind of print this out and come up with your own designs for a pumpkin. Now, it's something to keep in mind is that anything that's black is going to get cut out of the pumpkin. Anything that's white is going to stay pumpkin. So in this case, my dog's face would be pumpkin, kind of the eyes and stuff would be cut out. If I wanted to do it the other way, you would do path, trace bitmap, you say invert image. And now it's going to be the opposite. All of the black pieces, right? Here the eyes would be pumpkin and the nose would be cut out, which might look a little weird, but yeah. Yeah, but you really, okay, so let's see. So Cayman was making a Doge joke. Oh, okay. Oops, spelled it wrong. But you could do that. You could take this little guy and really easily make him a pumpkin. Even let's see, you know, something like that. That would be really easy for you to sit there and create create a trace for. So just something to think about. Remember, you have the recordings if you want them. You could go back and get those recordings on YouTube. But if that's something that interests you guys, so we can go through it. But now, with your Inkscape skills, you can customize your pumpkin as you'd like. And you would just print this out, right, and try to get it on your pumpkin. The other cool idea that Cademan had that I'll share with you guys who were running a little bit behind was to actually 3D print some plastic pieces and stick them in, you know, add some pointy ends to your 3D design and then stick them into your pumpkin, which is a really cool idea. You may have to use a drill or something like that to poke the holes first, but that's really clever. All right, go ahead and open up Scratch. And we're going to kind of pick up from where we were. All right, and I want everybody eyes on my screen for a moment here, while we just go through and just make sure that we understand how the score works, all right? So let's demonstrate the game. Our score gets added by 1 if the ball hits the paddle, and right now it's just going forever apparently. Oh, somehow it didn't save my... All right, well, this is the perfect spot then to kind of add it. So right now it's just checking to see if it's touching sprite 1, which is that paddle. Change score by 1. So now let's go ahead and add an if-then statement in there. If the score from the orange is greater than... Now, what number should I type in there if I want the player to win once they get a score of 5? What number should I type in there? Four. Yeah, great, Logan. You just type 4 because you don't you want the score to be greater than 4. All right. So if the score is greater than 4, then we are going to do something called broadcast. All right. So eyes on my screen, please. Broadcasts are really, really cool. They're a way to signify the start of a sequence of code. Okay. So I want everybody eyes on my screen for a second because I'm just going to show you an example. In kind of a new code, not to do with Pong, and then I'm going to show you how you can add it to your Pong so you guys can modify your games. So I'm going to really quickly give this cat kind of classic All right, so now what's happening if the user can move the cat left and right. Oops. All right, we move the cat left and right. I'm going to add a quick line here. And what I want to have happen, it's going to be a little game where the cat has to go ahead and collect the fruit, okay? So what I want to have happen is that the banana starts off hidden. But once the cat reaches the apple, a banana appears. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a broadcast. And a broadcast is just a way for the sprites to talk to each other without the players seeing. Okay. So again, you're just going to watch this one, and then we're going to add it to the game. And you guys are going to add it to the game as well, and it'll make hopefully a little bit more sense. So here we have the cat that moves back and forth. We're going to, once that green flag is clicked, forever, the apple is going to sense for when it's touching sprite 1, which is the cat. And if it touches sprite 1, it's going to hide. I need to put the show here. It's going to hide. And then it's going to broadcast. It's going to broadcast a message. And I'm going to say, new message, eaten. So once that apple is eaten, once the cat touches the apple, here I'll go ahead and change Scratch Cat's name to Scratch Cat. And I did that by clicking on the eye up there. That makes it easier for the programmer. See what I did there? I changed the name to Scratch Cat. So that way, under Apple, you know, touching sprite 1 is a little confusing. You don't know what exactly it's referring to. Now you know it's referring to the cat. Okay? So now it's going to check to see if it's touching a Scratch Cat. Then it'll hide, and it's going to send out a message to other sprites that are going to activate a line of code. So now we see this is called a hat block, and it's waiting for something to start that sequence of code. Well, we're going to put this when I receive eaten, when I receive that eaten broadcast. So this is broadcasted out. When that gets broadcasted out, whatever we attach to this hat block is going to happen. Just like whenever a user clicks the green flag, this block will happen. So when I receive eaten, show. Okay? I have a question for you guys. All right, well, let's go ahead and show this. So I clicked the green flag, so the banana disappeared, because that's what happens when the green flag gets clicked. And then we walk over to the apple, and it disappears. It disappears because it's touching the cat, so it hides. And then it broadcasts eaten. When that gets broadcast out, the apple or the banana shows. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and show this in the game and see what happens. But I have a question before we do that. Eyes on my screen, everybody. Why do I need this show? This is the apple's code, right? So let me show you what happens in the game. When the game starts, the user picks up the apple and it disappears, and then banana shows up. Why do you need that show before the forever loop? What happens if it's not there? It disappears. Exactly, Caitlin. Let me go ahead and show everybody, because this is a really important concept that a lot of times people forget, which is totally fine. I forget it all the time. You'll notice in my code. If you don't put, when you're starting to code, right, the apple is there. So you don't really think about it that once the person plays the game one time, if they try to restart, it's not going to show up again because it's already hidden. Let me explain that again. When you're coding the game for the first time, both your banana and your apple are just going to start shown, because that's the standard. So you might not think about, oh, well, if I tell it to hide when something happens during the game, I need to go back and set my initial conditions. And the initial conditions are how you want that sprite to be when the person hits the green flag to start the game. So now, every time the person hits the green flag, the apple will show back up. Okay. All right, let's head on back to Pong and let's go ahead and add a broadcast. And we're going to actually add two. We're going to do something when you win the game and something when you lose. So let's just start with the win, okay? So if the score is greater than 4, we're going to send out a broadcast. My eyes on my screen. To change the name of your broadcast, you just click the little triangle, you hit new message. We're going to call it win. Right. So go ahead and I'm just going to code this off to the side for right now, just so it's easier to see what's going on. Go ahead and add this if statement to your code and raise your hand once you've added it. I can show you how I did that again. I pulled the broadcast message 1. From that little drop down, I added new message. Yeah, good, Max. I see that you responded too. Go ahead and raise your hand once you're able to add that if statement in there. Great. All right, just make sure, a reminder just to raise your hand whenever you finish, and go ahead and send me a message if you need me to repeat or re-explain any of that. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Just waiting on one more hand. Oh, there's my koala logo. That's weird. One more hand. What's going on? All right, well, we wait for one more. I do want to show you something cool, those of you who are kind of waiting here. And Max, check in with me if you need any additional help, okay? Just waiting on you to get this. I wanted to show this. I was about to exit out of this Word doc, but I thought this would be cool for you guys to see. This is pseudocode. Pseudocode are lines of code that you write out in English. And if you guys remember, we wrote pseudocode on one of the first days that we started the Pong game, I think. We wrote pseudocode about making something move or something like that. This was we did this pseudocode today in class in grad school for people who have never coded before. And we started out on this kind of on this level. So just something to keep in mind. You are going to be coding at a level. Having this coding skill is so important, especially if you guys start the age that you are. And for many of you, you've started even before this. It's a really powerful tool that a lot of people use, and it's very envious in the business world. It's very difficult to learn kind of later on, or people think that it's very difficult to learn. Right? There's some hesitation to learning it. So very cool that you guys are going to be doing some coding. You would be able to outcode some of the members of my graduate school class. All right. Hey, Max, can we check in? What's going on? Do you need me to share this so that you're up to speed? What I'm going to do, I am just going to share this game real fast. And that way, if you want to just work off of an edit of this, you can. But we do have to move on just to get to all the cool stuff today. So that's shared, that link, and you can click it and edit it from there, okay? All right, eyes on my screen. We're going to add this if statement above checking to see if the person has lost. So we're actually going to see if they've won before they've lost. And if they have won, we'll broadcast win. If they lose, we're gonna stick another broadcast in there that says broadcast lose. So new message, lose. All right. Go ahead and add that in there and raise your hand once you're able to kind of add that if statement in, and then put that second broadcast in there. All right, so just raise your hand once you are able to fit that in your code and add the lose broadcast, please. Great. Max is still here waiting to hear from you, so just shoot me a message kind of where you are, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to write what happens if we win or lose. So eyes on my screen for a little bit, and I'm just going to show you kind of one example of what you can do that's pretty simple, like a simple way, a simple kind of thing to do for winning and losing, and that's creating a win-lose screen. So just watch once, and then I'll kind of show you guys what to do. So under our stage, we're going to add a new backdrop. And I'm just going to edit backdrop 1. That just says, you have won. All right, let's go ahead and say you have lost. Sorry, you lost. Press the green flag to play again. All right, oh, we're in bitmap mode. Let's go ahead and delete that. I always like to be in vector mode, even if we're doing text. Sorry, you lost. Again. All right. And we'll go ahead and make this scratch. Very interesting. We'll go with scratch here. So, hoping to be able to center this text, but I guess you cannot. All right, and then we will just not quite letting me move it here. I think I may have upset my computer. Let's see. Hey, Cademan, I'm really excited to look at yours, but right now I need you to be kind of focusing on the backdrops, okay? And we're absolutely going to have time to look at people's work in just a minute. So I do not know what's going on with my Scratch, so let me go ahead and reload it. There we go. All right. That's more like it. I'll make it. Whatever. All right. That's fine for right now. So what we're going to have happen is we will have our backdrop. And the green flag is clicked. It's going to forever check to see. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not right. We can just say, when I receive lose, switch backdrop to backdrop 1, which is lose. And we can actually change the backdrop name to you lose. What do I need to add to this stage so that a person can play a second time and have the backdrop switch back? Does anyone remember the kind of Hey, Caden, right now you need to, I get you, and I'm very glad you're happy with your game, but we're not done with the game as a class, okay? So we are absolutely going to show them off, but right now what we need to do is work on learning broadcasts, okay? So thank you, and I am excited to see what you've done. Trust me, you don't know how much it makes my day that you're excited about Scratch. But right now we got to focus on broadcasts, right? Because we can always be learning, we can always be getting better. We can always make our games better. Okay, cool. So when I receive blues, what do we need to add to this? We need to add an initial condition, just like making that apple visible at the beginning. Whenever the green flag is clicked, it needs to go back to looking like a beach, right? So now, when the green flag is clicked, it looks like a beach. When the ball hits the sprite 1, when the ball hits the blue, it should broadcast lose. And the backdrop should switch to backdrop 1, but of course it is not. And let's see why that is. Oh, I see what's wrong. Let's try this. Bear with me. Okay, that works. Oh, the backdrop is you lose. And so we have to go back here and switch it to you lose, because it was, I changed the name of the backdrop, but I had left it here as backdrop 1. So that's why it wasn't working. So we can go back here. So, and again, you guys are going to start this in just a second, but I want to show what happens. In addition to adding that the backdrop is going to change, when the ball receives lose, it's going to hide, and it's going to stop all other scripts in this sprite so that the ball stops moving. I'm going to take this code and click and drag and drop it over my paddle, over my umbrella, and over my gobo. And then I'm going to add the initial condition show to all of those as well. And when I clicked and dragged that, that code just copied over. It was really nice. All right, so what happens? We're playing the game. We lose. Sorry, you lost, and all of my things are gone. When I click the green flag, they all show back up again. Okay, let's go ahead and do that code. So, and I know you guys don't have a gobo or an umbrella, but that's okay. So, let's start by adding the backdrop. All right, so that's where I want you guys to add this backdrop to your thing as well. Click on the stage. Click on, I'll go ahead and delete these. Click on backdrops, and you can go ahead and just change that backdrop 1, or you can paint a new backdrop. Make sure you're in vector mode, or I'll wait a second. You guys get caught up. So we're under stage and we hit backdrops. You're going to add a new backdrop. Make sure you're in vector mode. You're going to add text. That's any kind of blue screen. All right, go ahead and raise your hand once you've added your blue screen. Great, Max has his blue screen. Waiting on a couple more hands. Oops. Hey Logan, just make sure, check back in once you've added this backdrop. Great. Now, under scripts, we're going to add code so that when the green flag is clicked, it switches to blue sky, which is my main backdrop, whatever your main play backdrop is. But when it receives blues, it switches its backdrop to the lose script, whatever you have your lose script named as. And go ahead and raise your hand once you're able to get that to work. Add that code. All right, so again, just raise your hand once you're able to add these chunks of code. All right, how are we doing? Can I see some hands since we had this line of code? It should just be these 4 blocks right here, y'all. What's going on? All right, came in. All right, Max, I'm gonna give you 1 more minute, but then we gotta keep going. Great. All right, we're gonna keep going. Whew. So now let's go ahead and add the lines of code so that the rest of your objects stop working, if you will. So I actually took out the stop all with this broadcast. What I'm going to do is add this code that says whenever I receive lose, I'm adding this to the beach ball right now. I want to go ahead and I want to hide this sprite and I want to stop all other scripts in the sprite. Don't stop all or else nothing in the game will work anymore. Just go ahead and stop other scripts in this sprite. All right. And I added that to my beach ball. Go ahead and raise your hand once you've been able to add that to your beach ball. All right, and remember we're just going for this when I receive, lose, hide, stop other scripts in this sprite. Just gonna add this to our beach ball and raise your hand once you're able to add that. Great. And now we're just gonna click and drag, eyes on my screen for a second, you just click and drag that over your paddle. But you gotta remember then to also add the show block under the green flag so that the beach ball and the paddle start off showing whenever the green flag is clicked. Right. I'm also going to add this to my Gobo and Umbrella because they're also sprites. But you guys don't have a Gobo and Umbrella, so. All right, and now you should have a working game. Or at least with a losing element. What I want you guys to think about now is how you could kind of do something similar to make a winning element. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with as your challenge for the rest of class. Can you make another screen that's essentially, does a similar thing so that whenever the player wins, they get a message. And what I want to leave you with, or an idea to think about, you could also it doesn't necessarily need to be a set screen, right? So here I'm going to add some initial conditions right now because Gobo is already where I want him when the game starts, and he's already the size that I want him. He's already, what is he? Let's see, point and direction, 120. Okay, so what I could say is when I receive win, we could just do we're going to set size to be 200%. This is my little Gobo character off in the corner. We're going to have him say, "You won." We're going to have him point direction 90 degrees. Okay, so now what happens when we win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and so we have our little Gobo. Oops. And now we need to go through and once they win, have everything stop again, just like with their other guy. So, all right. So I could just duplicate this and have the same thing for win. So what I was just trying to show you with that is that you don't need to just do end screens like a backdrop. There are lots of different ways that you can kind of communicate to your audience. Let's see what Gobo looks like now. And you want to be creative. You want to find a way that looks cool to your audience. Make it a little bigger. I'm going to make him go. All right, so that's what you guys are going to do for the next 10 minutes. I want you guys to work on what's going to happen if you win. And then Max or Cademan, I know you sent your project, so we'll go ahead and show that at 6:57. All right, it is 6:51 right now, so in about 5 minutes we'll go ahead and show it. But I want you guys to be able to work on your win screens. That'll be what we show off at the end. And I'm looking forward to it. 2. You won. All right, let's go ahead and check out Caitlin's game. If anyone else wants to send their game, I know people might not be done with it quite yet, but you can go ahead and send that to me. All right, so here we go. Oh, cool. I like the little ball here. All right, so I think it's quite working, Cademan. I'm not able to move my key back up. And I'm not sure the score is quite working or the losing element's quite working. It looks really cool, and I like that you're able to move the stuff here. Absolutely, but I think the graphic style is really, really neat, and I'm excited to see you get some of those winning and losing element pieces in there. All right, so it should just, I'll refresh it and see. Oh, cool, and the score is working now. Oh, cool, I like the restart play again screen a lot. Yeah, okay, man, it looks like I can only move down. So you gotta change y by 10 or negative 10. Oh, look at my point, I got a point. Very cool though. All right. So I hope you guys have kind of enjoyed on some of these elements of Pong so far. The idea of winning and losing elements and having them work is super important for Pong, okay? So being able for your user to kind of easily move up and down, having that winning and losing element are all super important when you're trying to create that fun game experience. I did refresh. We are all refreshed. Oh, it looks great. I'm able to move back up and down. Really cool, Cayman. Yeah, yeah, you can move up. Cayman, one other thing that may be helpful is to try recentering your ball so that it's at the center of the ball there. It may help your bouncing a little bit. Yay! Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Cayman. I really appreciate you always sharing your work. If anyone else wants to share, please do. You can post it on Edmodo or you can show us in class on Wednesday. Have an absolutely wonderful afternoon. Sounds good, Cayman. And I will see you guys on Wednesday.